Hey, good morning. Paige Browning here. It's Saturday, and this is Seattle Now. Today, we're bringing you the best from the KUOW Newsroom. First, a story about Seattle's Rainier Beach High School. It was entirely rebuilt last year on peat soil that scientists found emits potentially hazardous levels of methane. But a KUOW investigation found the district skipped some safety steps to keep methane out of the building. Ann Dornfeld reports.
Rainier Beach High School sits on an ancient peat bog that used to be the floor of Lake Washington. The decaying plants and animals in peat release methane gas. So before construction began, scientists measured underground methane levels. In a report to the district, they warned that methane is colorless, odorless, lighter than air, and is a fire and explosion hazard. Engineers said they found methane concentrations in at least one place that were higher than 5%, just above the explosive level. In a report to Seattle Public Schools, engineers said that level of methane meant the district should take federally recommended steps to keep vapors out of the building. But local law does not require that, and KUOW found that the district skipped some of engineers' key safety recommendations.
You see the plumbing and piping over here?
Richard Best heads capital projects and planning for Seattle Public Schools. Standing outside Rainier Beach, he points out a venting system engineers recommended to funnel underground methane away from the school.
The methane vents are underneath the building, and then they have a plumbing and piping pathway that takes it out to the roofs.
Along with venting, engineers recommended sealing the building's foundation with a thick plastic blanket to keep methane from sneaking through cracks. But the district skipped that step. Mike Skutak managed the project for the district. He said they did install a thin plastic sheet under the building to keep the foundation dry, but not a thick blanket to keep out hazardous gas.
We're not aware of a methane mitigation that required anything more than the grid of piping that passively releases the methane above the building.
The engineers' report also recommended monthly methane tests, starting before the new school opened to students last April. But a spokesperson for the district said officials missed that recommendation, too. They didn't start monitoring until 8 months later, after KUOW asked about it. The spokesperson said they've tested once so far and found no explosive gases in the school. The off-the-shelf gas monitor the district used does not give a specific reading for methane. Kelly Pennell says the district's approach to methane safety is troubling. She's a civil engineering professor at the University of Kentucky. Pennell has spent 2 decades studying how to keep hazardous soil vapors like methane from seeping into buildings. Methane isn't highly toxic to breathe, but it is highly flammable.
That's what we're looking to do, is to prevent the possibility of an explosion.
While methane has caused a lot of coal mine disasters, it doesn't often blow up buildings. Pennell says the absolute risk of an explosion at Rainier Beach or any building is impossible to know given all the factors at play. She said that's why engineers recommend vapor mitigation, to get unknown risks closer to zero. In King County, builders are required to follow engineers' methane safety plans only when building near landfills with methane gas from decaying garbage. The law does not require mitigation on sites where the methane comes from decaying peat bogs, like the one under Rainier Beach. Pennell says methane safety laws are frustratingly inconsistent. She says that's most problematic on construction projects like schools, where safety is critical, but budgets are often limited.
By the time you're putting down something like a vapor barrier or a mitigation system, those are places that maybe you're cutting costs. That should not be the place where you're cutting costs.
The $300 million rebuild came after years of community demands for modernization at this school, which has 96% students of color. Rainier Beach alum Rita Green is a longtime advocate for equitable education at this school and across the district.
It wouldn't surprise me that the district would cut corners on anything for Rainier Beach High School, given its current demographics, meaning students and families of color.
Green says at the district's community meetings she attended about the school rebuild, methane never came up. She said it's time now for the district to bring together the school community and scientists to make sure Rainier Beach stays methane-free. Ann Dornfeld, KUOW News.
Now, a story from Pierce County on how it's approaching youth who commit crimes. Pierce is finding success in a different way of doing juvenile probation. Northwest Public Broadcasting's Lauren Gallup reports.
Inside a small corner building in downtown Tacoma, there's a skate park. It's called Alchemy Skateboarding. It's a place for kids and teens to hang out, check out new gear, and of course, skateboard. But it's also a place where young people can get a fresh start. Taylor Woodruff runs Alchemy.
We joke a lot that skateboarding is just the perfect vehicle to talk about risk mitigation or risk awareness because it's like mandatory to fall down and get hurt.
Alchemy is one of many community organizations that partners with the Pierce County Juvenile Court. These partnerships help the county do probation differently.
The goal is that they get plugged in with a community partner and a place where they have access to whatever things they might need.
It's called opportunity-based probation. Instead of going through typical probation, that's a lot like what adult offenders go through, young people go to community programs. There, they learn new skills and connect with other young people. The program rewards good choices and behaviors. That's different from the more traditional model that punishes kids for messing up. At Alchemy, skateboarding is the focus. Young people go there once a week for 10 weeks. They learn skills ranging from how to skateboard to designing clothes.
We really try to tailor the program to fit whatever the person in the program is interested in.
Pierce County and researchers at the University of Washington received funding from the Annie E. Casey Foundation in 2015 to transform Pierce County's probation system. With that, they created opportunity-based probation. Kate Cunningham is a clinical psychologist and clinical faculty member at KUOW. That's a University of Washington-based think tank working on youth wellness. She's part of the team that created opportunity-based probation. She says it was based on adolescent brain development.
Youth are really highly influenced still by their context, so their environment, who they're around, family, friends, social supports.
The model is structured to guide youth towards goals that they help develop. According to the court, in this program, youth have the chance to earn incentives and a possibility for an early review hearing.
A big part of it is increasing community support around the young person.
And the program is working. According to a 2025 University of Washington study, youth recidivism in Pierce County was lower than the state average. Hilltop Artists, a youth development organization that uses glass art as a means of engaging young people, hosts another one of these programs. They call it Arts Connect, and it's for court-connected girls and young women. Participants learn how to create glass and other art projects. Sasha Tepper-Stewart is one of the teachers. She says the program can have a big impact.
I'm thinking of one young woman who came and she was super quiet and always had her headphones on. In the first few weeks of the program, she didn't really want to interact with anyone.
To now,
she's made friends with the other girls and she's outgoing and she wants to come back.
As of 2025, every young person on probation in Pierce County goes through opportunity-based probation. But there are still barriers. Most of the programs are in the county's biggest city, Tacoma. So getting kids to these programs can be a challenge. And at the end of the year, the county finalized its next biennial budget. In that, the county reduced funding to some of the community partners that offer these programs. The county says it is working with these organizations to ensure that the kids who are served won't be impacted. I'm Lauren Gallup in Tacoma.
For our third story today, a look into how the University of Washington became the epicenter of college sports drama over the past couple of weeks. Huskies star quarterback DeMond Williams Jr. made a surprise announcement last week that he would enter the transfer portal. That surprised UW because he had just signed a contract with the school. Sports writer Danny O'Neill wrote, "I don't think anyone expects the resolution here is DeMond Williams plays for the Huskies in 2026. Well, UW threatened to sue to enforce the contract, and within hours, Williams said he's staying a Husky after all. Danny O'Neill writes the Dang Apostrophe Substack newsletter, and he talked to KUOW's Kim Malcolm about how he's been shocked twice by the saga.
Danny O'Neill joins us again to talk about the latest in this twisting, turning drama of a story. Danny, welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me back, Kim.
Well, we asked you how shocked you were when Williams entered the transfer portal. Now, how shocked are you that he says he's coming back?
I am just as surprised. As you heard, I did not expect or foresee a potential resolution being that he returns. I am happy to say that I'm delighted to be wrong. It's certainly not the first time I've been wrong. Usually I feel a little bit of regret. In this case, it's just excitement. I'm really pleased that he's staying.
Yeah, no, I understand. But the reason why you probably anticipated that this was just not going to happen is because of the power that players have here in this environment. So what did Williams run into to have him change his mind?
Yeah, we're not sure entirely. Some of it certainly was the reaction, I would guess, that people had locally. There's also the uncertainty right now because there's very little structure in college football. And Washington cannot keep him from transferring to another school or playing football somewhere else. But because of the way the economics work, and as you indicated, the school had said it was going to sue, any financial penalty he might face is very much up in the air. Even if it's written into a contract, nobody knows how the litigation would play out. And I certainly believe that some of the decision to return is that he didn't want to face that uncertainty of, hey, I might end up making significantly less money than I would if I just stayed and played on the deal that I'd already negotiated with Washington.
Huskies head coach Jed Fish has said now that he supports Williams and he will work with him to rebuild trust with Husky fans. How difficult a job do you think that's going to be?
I'm a UW alum. I'm a Husky fan. For me, that job is not very difficult. I see a young man who's 19 years old who probably was facing an enormous amount of pressure, both from the infrastructure of the team he plays for, Washington, and obviously had a lot of people pulling him and wanting him to leave. And I can see a 19-year-old kind of making an awkward or clumsy series of decisions that led to him announcing he was going to transfer. So I feel that any apology really relates to his teammates and also to the athletic department. There was a memorial for the goalie, Mia Hammond, that was taking place when he posted on his Instagram account that he intended to transfer. So Damon did address that in his statement yesterday. That second question, if someone asked me, what should he do? I think that gets into a much different question about the relationship between college football fans and their teams in this era where players are now being paid. For a long time, my answer would have been they're amateur athletes. They should always be cheered. No one should ever boo them. It's a little different now. And given that the University of Washington football program fundraises and asks for donations that help fund the money that is then channeled to these players, I think that question of does he owe or should he provide fans with an explanation of what happened or address it more than he already has, I don't personally believe that way, but I could also see how some people might really want to hear that right now.
Let's talk about the football side of this. It appears he's staying. What do you think their prospects are next fall if he can rebuild those relationships on the team?
I think it's the best resolution for their football team next year. I think they're positioned to be a very good team. I absolutely think the possibility is there. I don't want to say you expect them to make it, but they should contend and be a team that could win a conference championship in the Big Ten.
Danny, I'm going to ask you to stand by or at least stick close to your phone just in case the story changes again in the next few hours.
I'm going to be mad if I'm wrong again. Like if this goes the other way, then I'm going to be mad. Now I'm happy to be wrong.
Danny O'Neill is the author of the Dang Apostrophe Substack and a Husky alum. We love talking to you about college football. Thanks so much for this, Danny. Have a good weekend.
You too, Kim. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for listening to Seattle Now, and thank you so much to our donors who support the show. If you haven't supported the show yet, you can do it by giving a gift at the link in the show notes. It also helps us when you follow and rate the show on your podcast app. Today's interview was produced by Shane Mailing. The features were reported by Ann Dornfeld and Northwest Public Broadcasting's Lauren Gallup. Our production team includes Caroline Chamberlain Gomez, Vaughn Jones, Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers, Andy Hurst, and Patricia Murphy. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Paige Browning. Hope you enjoy the weekend.